Hi, Jewish moms. I hope you had an amazing Purim. So I don't know if you Jewish moms experienced what I experienced last night, which was Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night. But as soon as as soon as I'd finished cleaning up after Shabbat, all of a sudden this sense of intense panic and anxiety entered my heart, and I was like, oh no, less than a month away is Seder night. And I just felt, and all of a sudden I was like very anxious with my kids and stressed out with the house and stressed with everything. How am I possibly going to manage? So I want to talk with you guys. I want to talk with you all about how we can stay calm this month, how we can at least stay calmer in this month, or even a little bit less than a month. Sorry to remind you, leading up to Seder night. I recently read that the percentage of people suffering from anxiety in the U.S. is about 20%. I remember like a few years ago I heard there was a famous Rebbitzin from a religious community in the United States. And a psychiatrist who's not religious asked her, she said, what's wrong with you people? She said, I don't know what's going on. She said, but in the month before Passover, then like my the amount of like panic calls I get and requests for anxiety medication, like the levels of anxiety in your community are just skyrocketing. What's the matter with you guys? Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about somehow how to keep ourselves calmer in this month, actually a little bit less than a month, sorry to remind you yet again, as we lead up to Seder night. So I want to talk about a few things, which help me to stay calmer. I'm a person who I have a tendency towards anxiety the whole year. It's something that I really spend a lot of put in quite an effort every single day to make sure that I'm calm. It's not something that comes so naturally to me. So I want to start out saying something about Pesach cleaning in general. It's something that I say every year in these pep talks, but I think it's worth repeating. In case you've forgotten, or in case you haven't watched my previous pep talks from previous years, but there are two kinds of Passover cleaning. There's Passover cleaning in rooms, for example, bedrooms or bathrooms or other places where you will not be eating. In our house, it's like the upstairs of the house where we will not be eating during Passover. And in those parts of the house, the kind of cleaning that you're doing, you are looking only for a kazait. You're looking for, because let's say, when I think of it, I think about a miniature pretzel. You're looking for something about like the size of a small cookie, right? So you're looking for something big. You're looking for like a cookie, a mini pretzel, something big. You're not just looking for like the granules of possible cookie crumbs, which could be hidden somewhere underneath your bed. Okay. You are really, because you're not going to be eating here halachically, you don't have to be looking so carefully. So what I do in these 2 weeks between Purim and Rosh Chodesh Nisan, I do that cleaning, the cleaning in rooms where we will not be eating during Passover, for example, in our house it's all of the upstairs. And it's also when I do like my fun organizing. I'm sorry. Actually, I think it's sort of fun. Like last night, I organized a cabinet in our kitchen where we keep pencils and scissors and medicines and all sorts of random things. So really, I spent like an hour like making like order there. And this is the kind of thing that I do before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. But I only do it when it's fun, and I only do it when it's not going to stress me out, and I only do it before Rosh Chodesh Nisan because I know like my cleaning upstairs, like cleaning underneath my bed or cleaning my drawers or cleaning the upstairs bathroom, it's something I can do actually very quite quickly because you're just looking for a miniature pretzel. You don't have to be like going in and getting the granule from inside your underwear drawer. Okay. So then when you get down, it's true, after Rosh Chodesh, at least this is how I do it, after Rosh Chodesh, when you're cleaning in your kitchen and your dining room, or me, it's my living room. So where you're going to be eating at Passover, you actually have to be very, very careful. Then you're actually doing the kind of famous Passover cleaning, like really, really checking for every single granule of chametz. But I think it does make it much easier to realize that in most of your house, that you really don't have to be looking that carefully for chametz. So I want to just give you now like a few general suggestions, not only before Passover, but in general for your life, how to be a calmer mom. So that's something that I've discovered, which is really helpful in helping a person to feel calmer, and also sort of to quiet. Like, let's say if you're a person who suffers, as I do, from like a lot of like negative mind chatter, something that's really helpful in like quieting your mind and feeling calmer. There's something called omega-3. Possibly, actually, quite probably, you've heard of it. It's something which has been proven to have a real benefit in reducing depression and anxiety. So every day I take fish oil capsules, omega-3, and it's relatively expensive, but highly recommended. It's really something that really makes you feel calmer, gives you sort of a feeling. I sort of have this feeling. My husband laughed when I said this to him. He didn't exactly understand what I meant. Maybe you'll understand. This sort of makes me feel like a little bit, you know how like fish are sort of calm, sort of like floating through like the water. So it makes me feel a little bit like a touch like a fish. Calm, okay? Calmer. And something else that I do every day is I get exercise. I go on a brisk walk every day. If you belong to a gym, that's even better. Unfortunately, my gym closed down, went bankrupt. Boy. But I go on a brisk walk every day. The amount of as probably all of you know, and probably a lot of this pep talk just reminding you of things you already know. But getting a certain amount of exercise every day, aerobic exercise, then it releases endorphins, which makes you feel like calmer and happier and better. It can really lift your mood. In fact, like in fighting depression which is linked to anxiety, then it's like clinically been proven to like have like real benefits in fighting a minor to moderate depression, and I think also major depression, like it can't hurt. And so the amount of time which you need to exercise in order to get that endorphin release is experts say between 10 and 30 minutes. I find like a good 20-minute walk really does a lot to get my endorphins. For me, I'm so like I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to a certain amount of exercise a day, and I just know like if I don't go on a walk before I do anything, then I am really not a normal human being. Something else is that in terms of my diet is that I try to avoid sugar. In fact, I don't eat any sugar, and I'm not telling you to do that. I know that it's extremely difficult, but I like for 10 years, I haven't eaten any sugar, and what I found, like people say, isn't that hard? Isn't it really difficult? Well, the truth is that for 2 weeks it's really difficult, and then it's really not so difficult. Like your body breaks the addiction to the sugar, and it's really not difficult. Like once I decided I'm not doing this, and the truth is there are so many now replacements for sugar. Like there's honey, and there's something in Israel called silan, which is date honey, and stevia, and sucralose, and all these different things. There's so many different ways to get that sweet taste of sugar, without actually having to deal with like the psychological trauma, which I know, which for a person who tends towards anxiety like me, it's not good for me. So also I stay away from caffeine. Actually, over the past few years, then there's been new findings about the health benefits of caffeine, in drinking coffee, and so I can imagine like for most people. In fact, I met somebody. She had like a disease, and she realized like she started drinking coffee and it really, really helped her. But for me, for people who tend towards anxiety, I would tell you. I would tell you to stay away. Stay away from caffeine. I used to drink coffee, and I was really like so stressed out with my kids. And now for the last also 10 years, I've stayed off coffee. I stay away from all caffeine, and it really I feel like it makes a difference. Something else I do every day is every day I listen to a relaxation tape. It's a visualization relaxation tape, which I got from Chaya Hinda Allen of Jewish Positive Thinking. And I don't know if you can purchase her relaxation recordings without paying for the entire course. She's starting a new course right after Pesach. You can find out more at JP Think, like Jewish Positive Thinking, jpthink.com. But otherwise, I think that there are a lot of if you can't buy from her, I think hers are excellent. If you can't just buy the recordings from her, I'd recommend finding online somewhere relaxation discs, relaxation recordings. I find them extremely helpful. For me, what I do is I know Sarah from Seattle. Hi. So she asked me in a comment that I didn't find time to respond to, even though it was a great question I meant to respond to, but I didn't get around to it. She asked how I possibly find the time to do all of these things, which I say that I do every day, whatever. So one explanation is that I say that I nap every day, but I also do a relaxation. I also do like a relaxation visualization thing every day, and I combine them. My relaxation visualization is my nap. So it's basically just gets me to like this very deep state of relaxation, and that's sort of I combine it with a nap. And also I rest every day. I do rest every day. I take like every morning after I send my kids off to nursery school, I go back and I rest, listen to my relaxation thing. Then in the afternoon, before my big kids come home, I lie down again, like with my little kids playing around me. I lie down again for about like 30 or 40 minutes. I have a special set of Legos, which my kids are only allowed to play with when I'm resting, so that my 4-year-old and 2-year-old are only allowed to play with when I'm resting, so that they let me rest, more or less. I think that's really important to stay rested, to get enough sleep. Okay, so I think like there's no big chidushim news, but I think it's just good. I think it's good for us to remember that in these weeks leading up to Pesach, we really don't have to be frantic and exhausted, and that I think it's so important to try and keep ourselves, feeling good and feeling calm in this month leading up to Passover as much as possible. There's a certain amount of stress, I guess, in the days leading up to before the Seder are pretty much inevitable if you're home and making your own Seder, as we do. But I think it's something like year by year I find myself able to keep myself calmer and calmer by following these, my whatever it is, 6 commandments or whatever I just said here. And I think also something important is that, last night when I was feeling really stressed about the organizing, and I decided to myself, this year I'm not doing any organizing. And of course then I said, I spent an hour organizing a cabinet, but I think that just giving myself that permission and just saying, this year I'm not doing any organizing. No organizing, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. So it means that anything that you do, anything that you have the time for, anything that you have the energy to do, the time to do, then that's great. But putting pressure on ourselves, to have the whole house organized and have the whole house whatever before a Passover, basically to do the bare minimum of cleaning it is intense, but it's not nearly as intense as we make for ourselves, and as exhausting as we make it for ourselves when we also do all of our spring cleaning and all of our organizing during this week leading up to Passover. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to only do it when it's fun for me. Only do the organizing when it's fun and when it's stress free, and it doesn't make me stressed out with the rest of the things I have to do. I hope I can stick to that. Something else I want to say, it has nothing to do with the calmness, but something that I do to motivate myself when I do have to clean. Is I decide for every 3 hours of cleaning, I buy myself a special treat. Last year I wrote an article about this, I bought myself a hamburger with onion rings. I was thinking maybe this year it'll be a sort of big thing of sushi, something like that I can eat. But I want to wish all of you Jewish moms this week leading up from Purim to Pesach, that it should be filled with simcha and we should be able to keep a good environment and happy, calm environment in our houses, as challenging that is. And I'm going to just review One thing, like remembering that remembering when you're cleaning the parts of your house where you will not be eating, for example, your bathrooms and your bedrooms, etc., and the attic or the upstairs rooms. Then what you're looking for, you're only looking for something which is a kazai, which is the size, let's say, of a mini pretzel. So you don't have to clean that thoroughly. Okay, the real cleaning, like the really looking for every single crumb, is only in your kitchen and in your dining room, places where you will be eating on Passover. Okay. And the next thing is, I highly recommend taking omega-3 for people who tend towards to get anxious. Omega-3 is really, really helpful to keep you calmer. Next thing is exercise. I know it's so difficult before Pesach to find the time, but try and find the time. It's really important to try and find the time to get yourself that exercise, to get that burst of energy and good feeling. Try and stay away. I know it's hard, like you want to stay up late cleaning and stuff, but try and stay away as much as possible from caffeine and sugar. Caffeine and sugar, I'm saying if you're a person who tends towards anxiety, some people eat caffeine and sugar and it really doesn't bother them. And relaxation tape. For me, I find it extremely helpful. So I want to bless all of you Jewish moms with a happy Adar, end of Adar, beginning of Nisan, cleaning period. Bless all of you Jewish moms with an amazing week.